Recently, I made a YouTube short talking about the perfect theoretical Five Nights at Freddy's crossovers, and the short now has tons of comments on the video that are very angry about something I said in the video. So let me play the clip for some context. However, I don't see this happening for two main reasons. The first is that Dead by Daylight is a pretty violent M-rated game, and I'm not sure how that fits with FNAF's current family-friendly horror theme. This clip of me saying that Five Nights at Freddy's is going currently for a family-friendly theme has tons of people angry at me, and I thought that this video might help clarify how I feel and might convince you as to why Five Nights at Freddy's is going in a family-friendly direction. So let's start with point number one. Firstly, I think it's for money. Five Nights at Freddy's is aiming for kids. Steelwool Studios and Scott are trying to dial down the amount of, murder and death in this franchise. An example of this, I think, it's pretty obvious, is Vanny. I think the original vision for Vanny was actually going to be killing kids with a knife and going to be very over the top, but they decided otherwise, and I think part of the reason why Vanny has limited screen time is because the vision that they had wasn't going to really pan out in the end, so they changed course. She's always going to be the reluctant follower of Glitchtrap, and you could say that she served that purpose within Security Breach, but at the end of the day, she didn't really maximize her potential. But that's just a theory. Let's go to some more concrete evidence. Another piece of evidence is the description of which Security Breach has on the Steam page that Steelwool Studios put out there. Listen to this. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is the latest installment of the family-friendly horror games loved by millions of players from all over the globe. Clearly, Steelwool Studios feels that Five Nights at Freddy's is a family-friendly franchise, and their actions back this up. Take a look at Security Breach. A, it's bright. It's very, very, very bright. Very different from the dark offices and dark ambiance of the older FNAF games. It's bright, and the animatronics within them are also bright. Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Montgomery Gator, Roxanne Wolf, DJ Music Man. They're fun animatronics. They're very fun. They're aimed for kids perfectly, but then again, it's Fazbear Entertainment, so I guess everything they do is aimed for kids. But you get the point. It's aimed for kids, and it's meant to be something that is easily marketable from Steelwool, for Funko, for other companies, Scott Cawthon maybe, and it's just not as dark. When I look at Glamrock Freddy, it doesn't scream murder robot. I see Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy from the original gang, and I'm like, something's wrong and something weird is going on within this establishment. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach does have its scares. It does have some stuff going on. I mean, the Moon Play Care sequence and the Glamrock Endos are scary, quote unquote. They're intense. But it's not like Five Nights at Freddy's, the original games, whereas you felt like there was death. You felt something imminent. Five Nights at Freddy's 1, whether it wanted to tell you or not, there's the end game over sequence is eyeballs poking out of a Freddy suit. Like, that's death. Security Breach, you just get dropped back to wherever you saved from, and it doesn't carry the same weight. There's nothing too gory or over the top about a moon animatronic trying to get you or Glamrock Endos. But, I mean, if we're being honest, the Glamrock Endos are naked, so I guess that could be horrifying in its own way if you really want to stretch it. And also, the endings of Security Breach are pretty tame. The Burn Trap ending is the only one that's really fully animated, and even that one, while as I said, and I've described other things, it's intense, but it's not. It just doesn't carry the punch of like a FNAF 3 ending with Springtrap getting Springlock, or the Bite of 83, or the Sister Location Scoop running. It doesn't carry that same kick. Look at the endings for Ruin, right? Cassie having the whole, the mimic and the elevator. That's intense, but it's not horror. It's not scare. It's not like the older FNAF games. And if you think about it, even in the Help Wanted games, there's nothing too violent or similar to the older era FNAF. Seriously, think about it. Everything violent or gory that happens within the Steelwool era is implied. An example of this is Jeremy in Help Wanted. It's implied he sliced his face off, but it's not told to us. It's not like FNAF 3 or the other endings that I mentioned, where it's shown to us. It's implied. The end of Help Wanted even being a missing children's incident recreation with Glitchtrap is implied. If you don't know what that's trying to recreate or mimic, whoa, that word. If you don't know what it's trying to mimic, you're just like, oh, that's kind of creepy, but intense. But that's really it. It's all implied, and the player, or us theorists, have to do the mental work to really put together and understand what's going on. Is this bad? I don't think so, but you have to admit it's happening. FNAF is changing. Heck, Scott Cawthon just authorized a game to be made on Roblox. let's be honest, Roblox's main demographic is children. You know, we're not going to act like there's some sophisticated, you know, a Call of Duty lobby level of people playing or Dead by Daylight level of people playing versus a Roblox lobby. It's very different. Now, I'm not making this video to discourage you OG fans, because I know some of you might get angry with me about this, because personally, I get it. We felt edgy and cool when we played Five Nights at Freddy's. We felt like, oh, Dead Kids, William Afton, oh, we're so cool, this is so crazy, and this is so out there, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But reality, it's for kids now, and that's okay. That is okay. And I think Scott Cawthon understands that, because if you look at what Scott Cawthon has done in the books, the Fazbear Frights and the Tales books, they're more intense. It's more of that old FNAF, nitty gritty, the violence. It's everything. If you really want to see scares and everything like that, go to the books. And Scott Cawthon knows that the OG fans love the books. He knows that we're going to buy them, and he knows that if we want the older FNAF scares or more intense FNAF, we're going to read the books. And that's why I think they are the way they are. I mean, just think about the Fazbear Frights. Like, just not even Tails, not even Silver Eyes. Think about the Fazbear Frights. Eleanor chops off the arms of a girl and replaces them and throws them in bags. There's In the Flesh, which has the messed up Matt Pat and Springtrap story. Just kidding. It's the whole In the Flesh. The guy cuts himself open. There's a Springtrap inside him. That's messed up. But there's also What We Found, where a dude locks himself in an oven and literally cooks himself alive because he's gone crazy. And the reason why it's different than the games is because in the games, they have to really show you what's going on if it's going to have the same effect. For example, Jeremy slicing his face off. You hear that story and you're like, oh, that's weird. And then, 10 minutes later, you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I just put 2 and 2 together. Whereas the books, you're reading it and you mentally have to do the work. It's not like a video game where they show it to you. It's not like a horror movie where it's on screen. It's a book. You have to read it and put 2 and 2 together, and your imagination does the work for you. So is FNAF changing? Yes. Is it for the better? Most likely. But at the same time, it's okay. Come on, guys. Chillax now. FNAF is moving in a family-friendly direction. All the signs are pointing towards it. And it's okay. We just have to accept it, because that's how it's going to be.